Welcome to the Storytellers with a Message podcast. This is where we tell real stories with real people. I'm Lori Grant, and I'm committed to capturing some of our life stories and the lessons we learn from them. Everybody has a story to tell. I remember one year my daughter was 23 years old. She left for a one-week vacation in Florida. Just before she left, we were talking about doing a couple of changes to her bedroom. Silly as it may sound, it wasn't the size of her twin bed that bothered her. It was the footboard that annoyed her most. More often than not, she would wake up in the middle of the night and find that she had kicked it, stubbed a toe, or somehow tangled herself in the slats. She had actually taken to most often falling asleep on the couch. She said it was just easier to fall asleep in front of the TV because she just couldn't sleep in her own bed. So when she was gone, I purchased a brand new bed frame, and it did not require a footboard to stay together. I dismantled the old frame, discarded it, and replaced it with a new one, attaching just the headboard. I was pleasantly surprised at how simple it was. Trust me, if I say it was simple, it was ultra simple. It was like no tools required simple. I put the thing together, washed her sheets, made her bed, and hoped it would make a difference. And actually, it made a huge difference. The first night home from her trip, she woke the next morning saying it was the best night's sleep she had ever had in that bed. Gosh, why didn't I do that sooner? It reminded me of a similar story. The very first home I owned in California had recessed fluorescent tube lighting in the kitchen. The tubes were in the ceiling and were concealed with decorative fluorescent light panels made of thin plastic. All the panels aged, and the plastic would get brittle, cracked, and yellow. My kitchen had 3 such panels. One afternoon, I noticed one of the panels had a small, growing crack in the corner. Once that caught my eye, I noticed another panel had started to yellow a little bit. It bothered me as much as it could bother any red-blooded perfectionist. From that moment on, you and I both know where my eyes went every time I turned on the kitchen light. I couldn't help it. Crooked pictures, dishes in the sink, leaves in the garage, or finding the scissors in the wrong drawer in the kitchen were all things that I could do something about. But fixing a light in the ceiling of my kitchen? Okay, let's get real. I assumed I needed a handyman or a home builder to take care of it. I'm telling you, fix it, Franny, I am not. And even if I could figure out how to fix it myself, I was sure it was going to cost me a week's pay. For me to cough up a week's pay on a single mom's salary would sting. So I just lived with it. For months and months, I lived with it, and I just tried to ignore it, assuming I had no other choice. One weekend, my brother came to visit. He was talking about all the cool projects he was doing in his own home that was 4 hours away. I was pretty impressed. We just so happened to be sitting at the kitchen counter when I casually looked up and said to him, "So how much do you think this is going to cost me?" "See it? I got to fix those lights." He laughed at me and said, "Oh, I don't know, about $10. What? I thought he was pulling my leg, but he wasn't. We hopped in my car, drove the few blocks to the Home Depot, and to my amazement, the panels were about $5 each. So I splurged and bought 3 of them. Of course, I wanted them all to match. It took him about 15 minutes to take the old ones down and replace them with the brand new ones. For me, it made a huge difference. Every time I turned on the kitchen light, I thought, why didn't I do that sooner? When I think about those 2 stories, I have to remember our small stuff successes need to be celebrated as well as our big stuff successes. Think about it. We have small successes every day and rarely acknowledge them. If you're like me, you're quick to beat yourself up about the things you can't do. But honestly, how often are we actually thankful and appreciative for the things that we can do and the things that we can get accomplished? Not only should our large successes bring us joy, but the small ones that we achieve every day can be a fantastic source of encouragement in our lives. So here's my message. Take a minute to look around you. I bet you can find something small to do today that could totally encourage and remind you of how blessed you are. I'm on my way to go grab some new succulents to put by my back door. Here's something my grandmother used to say. Success is the sum of small efforts, repeated day in and day out. This has been Storytellers with a Message. If you enjoyed the show, please hit the subscribe button. And don't forget to leave a review on your favorite podcast app. If you have a great story to tell, I'd love to hear from you. You can shoot me an email at storytellerswithamessage@gmail.com. To explore my children's books or learn more about my work, visit www.loriDgrant.com. Until next time, I'm Lori, wishing you joy and peace.